Hello. You join me here on the very last stage of the very last wave of the trial of whichever trial it is, justice, fortitude, hairiness, whichever trial it is. This is the very end. I just would do this. This isn't the main purpose of this video. The main purpose is going to be choosing a war team, but I thought it'd be a bit of a general giggle, this one. You'll see that I've sort of rigged up the screen to help me out as best I can. I've got a nice balance of heroes. I'm quite happy with them. I think they can do pretty well. So the screen was kind of rigged. I've got this green gem here set up because green is obviously the colour I've stacked most heavily. I've got, I can get a yellow gem there as well. I'll take that. So I have to watch a little bit Beryl there. Obviously his perfect riposte could get very annoying, but luckily I do have Caedmon to undo said perfect riposte, which he will do now. But he will fire his weapon into Groot. There we go. Groot is weakened, and boom. There we go. A funny little. There we are. Just a ton of things. But Beryl is the main one to finish off, really. To start with, I would say. Just that special skill is annoying. Groot's Anger of the Forest there, yeah, did a bit of damage, but luckily I could straight away undo his skill with my Vivica. I could also then have used an antidote, but as Vivica does what an antidote does in that situation, it made sense to just use her. There, Vivica is going to go off. We'll do some healing, but she never seems to heal quite as well on these boss stages. I don't quite know why. I'm going to drop a tornado sandstormy thing on that guy. He will now just sit there and slowly die away. I will then, mind you, I was about to say I'm just going to use a mana potion to get Caedmon charged. It almost seems a bit pointless because the screen is so bad in terms of green, so I probably won't be hitting anyone soon anyway. Now at this point I can see that their Groot is about to go off. They've all got fairly full mana, and that's where I'm going to chuck in a time stop, just because my healers aren't ready right this second. So that will just wipe away their mana, which is quite nice. Their mana builds up fairly quick on these boss stages, which is annoying. But there we go, you can't have it all. Groot is going to go off again. I can't necessarily stop him. There's a danger he's going to kill my Gafar, as my Gafar's health is pretty low. Oh no, Gafar survived, that was good. I was a bit worried about him. I will use Elkanon on the middle there. Like I say, I want to finish off Beryl because he's annoying. Vivica is fairly close to going off, but whichever of them goes off, whether it's Vivica or Groot, the wounding thing that I've just dumped on Groot, the everlasting wound, will mean that he doesn't get healed, which is quite nice. There we go. So it's a nice. I'm quite lucky here with having a good sort of range of heroes. This time I am going to use an antidote, just to undo what's happened there. I'm trying to do it without using too many battle items as ever. I try not to use battle items where I don't have to. I could arguably stop them time stop them here. In fact, I think I probably will on this one, just to speed things up a little bit. Not necessarily, perhaps not strictly necessary, but worth just sort of speeding it along. There we go. We'll do Caedmon first because he'll remove the shield up thing. Then the others can go off. Boom. Yeah, most of my heroes, their health's back on full. Bit of screen lag there for some reason. And yes, there we go. Lots of tiles flying into them. Boom. Purple gem. I know purple's not colour I'm particularly stacked in. Going to do the same thing, so I'm planting my everlasting wound on old Grooty boy there. He now will not. He won't heal when Vivica goes off, which she will do she is literally doing it as I speak. there we go. I'm going to use an antidote because I'd rather have full strength attacks. I'm actually going to save my hit from Gafar because I can see K1's nearly ready. Always worth just having a quick look to see who else is just about to go off before you launch your attacks. Probably need to change the target then actually with Elkanon. And Gafar should hopefully more or less finish off old Groot. There you go, bye Groot. Long range balance of my little elves will now be chucking stuff in, so it's quite handy. Vivica will keep healing. I probably won't be using time stops on her because the sheer sort of balance of power now rests in my favour. She'll heal herself a bit, and then I'll knock it down fairly swiftly. Ideally, I'm probably going to be, if what's his name, Gafar gets ready, then I will be using him. I will save his attacks just before it looks like her mana is charged, so that when he goes off, she doesn't actually even heal herself, which would be quite nice. There we go. Lots of tiles flying around everywhere. There we go. Right, let's blow this red jam. I just ignored my own advice then, didn't I? I just used it straight away. Oh, never mind, it worked anyway. Wasn't thinking. There we go. So, because of the everlasting wound on her, she can go off. Doesn't do her any good. Still, health don't go up at all. Writing's really on the wall for her right now. Bit of that, bit of this. I don't know if this next move will finish her off. It will be very close. There we go. Vivica, the lovely Vivica, who is rather attractive in her own, in many ways, has now been wiped out, and my phone is going to lag again. Oh, really bad lagging now. So I get my clerical emblems, my druid emblems, which is why you do it, the 3-star trainer hero. So all the bits which will be handy for somebody at some point. I haven't really decided who and when and where and why. Strong as an oak. Great work, Commander. I am strong as an oak. This is very true. Very, very true. It is regularly said about me, that one. Yep. So, let me just have a look. So we've got, I've got another thing, because I've now defeated 5 bosses. I've been doing big missions today, so that's why I haven't defeated many bosses. Working on 6 titans now, 200 enemies. I should do more raids, really. That's big. There's a lot of points for that one. 15 battles in the tournament. Yeah, there we go. Completed some of it. So I'm still ticking my way through the path of valor. The subsidised farming system as it is. Now, the main purpose of this video was very quickly to talk about the raid tournament and which team I'm going to take. So I've been asked by a few people, I get asked quite a lot on raid tournaments to help with defence teams, and it's not necessarily my strongest suit. I would say because you can't have blues, you want a red tank. Now I am going to go for Elena, who I think is my most valuable red tank. Don't take a healer. Now normally there is a hero like Guinevere, who is one of the best tanks in the game. I don't really rate her on bloody battle tournaments. I mean, she knocks down mana. The mana reduction is helpful, but it's not really enough to keep her in the game. Likewise, heroes like Bold Tusk, Rigard, people like that, they have their secondary skills to the healing and can be quite useful. But I wouldn't personally put them in my defence team. That's just my opinion. I generally, when I'm attacking, I smile. I feel better if I'm looking at a team with too many healers on, because I know there's 2 heroes or 3 heroes that won't be really taking part. That said, it is, there are times when they still have tile value. It might be some people, if you've only got 1 leveled up 5-star, it's probably worth putting them in just because of the extra toughness they have. I'm going to put Demisha in almost certainly. I'm not going to take Mother North, same reason I wouldn't take Vivica or one of those. Probably going to go fairly heavy on the reds, so I might go with Kagan, because Kagan works quite nicely coupled with Elena. Liana I always like to take, although I might go for the Groot in the Jester outfit. Let's go for Groot in the Jester. He might be, because otherwise I'm a bit sniper heavy, I'm thinking. Now, June is always quite fun. It makes people miss. Aslar is very, very dangerous on a... So I'm going to go for this. That's what I'm going to go for. Yeah, in which case I might swap him for June. No, I would assume most players facing that, they'd probably take a few reds, which is why I'm not taking a green. Although, to be fair, it wouldn't make any difference which colour you took, except you wouldn't take many greens, because greens wouldn't be much good, or would be fairly ineffective against that. So I'm going to go for June, and there we are, that's my team. Now, I have... Yeah, no, I don't have any more fast mana troops. I would generally recommend fast mana troops. My personal opinion is that they are more useful than critical hit troops. There we go. So 3 reds, running the 3 reds because you cannot colour stack the blues against them. So whereas normally I would say never put 3 heroes of the same colour together because it invites colour stacking. With this, my opponents can colour stack, but they can't colour stack blue. So my reds can never be any weaker. They are always going to be standard, which is why I've chosen a red tank and red flankers. You could just go with 1 red, you could go with 2, but definitely I would recommend a red tank. Best tanks, therefore, would become, in my opinion, Gravemaker. Very, very good, very fast mana. Makes him extremely dangerous, especially where there's no healing. The Black Knight, his whole sort of sucking in all the special skills and what have you, is horrendous. And then Santa. Santa is a really powerful, dangerous tank, which is such an odd sentence when you think about it. Santa, choose Santa. He's mean and smashes presents around the place. Doesn't seem, but anyway, there you go. So Santa is another good tank. So those would be my first 3 choices, but obviously I haven't got any of them. So I've opted for Elena instead. Her Perfect Riposte is quite effective, or can be quite effective. Especially at 5-star levels, there seem to be less debuffers and things. And her general attack's pretty good anyway. Kargan boosts the speed. Aslar, if he goes off, do an awful lot of burn damage over a long period of time. June to blind, and Domitia just as a sniper, and because she's my most talent emblemed up hero. There we go. So I hope there was something in there which was quite helpful. Like I say, if you can, I would avoid taking any healers or any people who bring people back to life or anything like that, because they don't work on Bloody Battle. Look for a red tank, and those would be my key suggestions. Boosters and weakeners and everything else you can sort of pick and choose depending on who you have. But personally, I wouldn't take a healer, even though somebody like Kirill or Vivica can be very useful. I wouldn't suggest you take them. Overall, their biggest skill is the healing, and without it, their secondary skills, they may be really, really useful, but they're probably not as useful as having another attacker. Anyway, that's it. So I hope there's something helpful in that. It remains for me to say thank you very much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. Comments, as always, gratefully received. Take care. This is Farmer Ben saying peace and love. May death come swiftly to your enemies.